I am Nupur and I'm really excited to have Linda Rising with us today on call and in this discussion. Linda is an internationally known presenter on topics related to agile development, patterns, retrospectives, the change process, and the connection between the latest neuroscience and software development. She's the author of numerous articles and 5 books as well. So, welcome, Linda. Welcome to this interview.
Thank you for inviting me. It's nice to be here.
Thank you for your time once again, Linda. And let's discuss about retrospective. We hear it a lot, and in the times of pandemic, we have heard about retrospective more than ever to get the right sort of solution. And to begin with, let's explore what is not a retrospective according to you.
Well, I don't know if I can answer that question, what is not, because there are lots of things that are not retrospectives. And in fact, it is so much a part of agile process of any form. All agile processes now recommend or include a retrospective, but I'm not sure that those are really retrospectives, because what a retrospective is simple. It means stop what you're doing and take time to think about what you have just learned. So it's a time for learning. And it has become, in a lot of agile communities, it has become a checkbox. Yes, we did our retrospective. People gather in a room or online, they go through a few exercises, and then they say, check, we've done it. And nobody learned anything. So we have to remember what Norm Kurth said. Norm Kurth, by the way, is still alive. It was his idea to have a retrospective, and that means stopping and thinking about what you've learned from the experience or the iteration, and then what can we learn from it? And now that we have behavioral science, we know that just having a meeting, whether it's in person or online, having a meeting is not enough. That is not a retrospective. You have to use what Daniel Kahneman called System 1 and System 2, the unconscious mind and the conscious mind. And you need to involve them both. And if you just have a checkbox meeting, then all you're doing is using System 2, the conscious mind, and you haven't really deeply used unconscious thought, the part that benefits from experience, the part that has our expertise. So we need to all have time to just silently, on our own, reflect about the experience and then come together. So a retrospective needs two parts: a part for System 1, the unconscious, a part for System 2, the conscious. And I'm not sure anybody does
True that, Linda. And I think I got my answer that what is not a retrospective? It is not a checkbox and it is not a meeting or a call. It is beyond that.
that. No.
Yeah. Moving forward, Linda, why is it important to conduct a retrospective in a crisis like coronavirus outbreak? Is there any specific recommendation you have for situations like these?
It is so important that we learn from this. Most people are unhappy about it. They want the COVID virus to end. We all want a vaccine. In the United States right now, we are rolling out phase 1. It will take several months, before everyone is vaccinated and we have herd immunity. And most people are only thinking about getting it over with. When will it end? And most of us are not thinking, either consciously or unconsciously, we're not thinking about what we can learn. If we don't learn from this experience, then we will have wasted a year and a half or more of our time when this is a great opportunity. We have seen a lot of change. Organizations are now operating online. Some organizations are happy about that. Some organizations are not, but we should all be learning. We should all be looking at what we can take away from this experience, and no better way to do that than by having a retrospective. We should be looking back and saying, what have we learned so far? What can we learn now? And just thinking about it without talking or without having a formal retrospective is not enough, because we're all doing that. We all have a little voice in our heads where we're constantly thinking about what we can't do. Oh, I miss my family. I miss going to parties. I miss going to concerts. I miss traveling. That's what we're thinking about. We're not looking back and thinking about what we've learned. And that means we have to get together, either online or in a real situation. We have to talk out loud to each other and ask questions about, what have we learned from these months, these very anxious, stressful times? What have we learned? And if we are not doing that, then this will not have taught us anything.
I think you have brought in a very interesting point and very important point, that we are just thinking of getting over it and waiting for that moment to come, but we are not looking back and thinking that what has changed and how we have matured on this process, or how our organizations have grown over this period of time. So that's an amazing point to be discussed amongst the teams. And I think as an individual also, we need to retrospect that where we were at the beginning of 2020 and where are we now uh, in 2021.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And Linda, if you have to suggest how to be prepared as a facilitator, what suggestions would you have for any individual who would want to be a facilitator?
Well, there are professional organizations, lots of books have been written about facilitating retrospectives. They are all good. And I assume that anyone who says, I am a facilitator, whether it's for a retrospective or an ordinary meeting, that they would have read those books, that they would have read those articles, that they would have talked to people who are professionals, because there is so much knowledge there. But what is missing in many cases is, you must ask yourself the question, what does this team need right now? What are they going through? What has just happened to them? So when I go into an organization as an external facilitator, that's the first question I ask. I don't ask about meeting rules or when will we take breaks or what exercises should we do. No, it's, what does this team need? What have they just been through? How can I help them learn from this experience? Because the best facilitator in the world, the best exercises, the best technique is not going to help a team unless the facilitator really knows, what are they feeling? What questions do they have? How can I help them? So a good facilitator will try to understand. Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People said, you must walk in their shoes. You must understand what they are thinking, what they are feeling, and how you can help them move forward. How can you help them learn? That's your job, not just to be a leader of exercises and structure and agenda. It's how can you help them as people so that when the retrospective is over, they can walk out and they're now ready to move forward. That's your job.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Linda, when we were discussing this question, I just realized and want to know from you, sometimes being over-structured as a facilitator can work against you.
Yes.
It may happen sometimes. I mean, I've just,
Oh,
when we were
yes.
discussing, I realized.
Oh, yes. You may have a plan. You may have a list. You may have a schedule, and you may say, oh, no, we can't spend any more time on this because we have to move on to the next exercise. I have been in so many retrospectives like that where the people really wanted time on something because it was important for them. And I felt that in myself that no, we have to move forward. We have to keep going. We have a schedule. We have to get on to the next exercise. And I had to tell myself, no, wait, let them, let them tell you what the schedule is. Let them tell you what they need. And if you're a good facilitator, then you can work with that. So they are really in charge. They should determine the schedule.
Yeah, thank you. I think a lot of our people who act as facilitator during the retrospective would learn great tips from this discussion, which we have just shared with you, Linda. Linda, you have been also sharing your thoughts about fearless change. There is a book about it, and a lot has changed in 2020, and people had to adapt to it. So, what is your biggest lesson in the year 2020 in terms of change management, especially fearless change, what you have been talking about?
It's interesting that there were many people at the very beginning of the pandemic who said, you know, if the planet Earth were attacked by an alien species, someone from another planet who came in to take over, then it would unite us. We would have a common enemy. So all the nations of the world would join together to fight this common enemy. That's been a sci-fi myth forever. A common enemy would unite us. Well, that is exactly what we have now. We have a common enemy, and it has not united us. In fact, it has divided us. There are groups of people, not just in the United States, but around the world, who believe this is a conspiracy, that it's not real, that somehow governments or other people have made this up or have created the virus. Maybe it's the Chinese. They created this virus and now they're trying to infect us. And they don't see that we should all work together. What we've done is we've divided the world even further. We label people. If you don't wear a mask to the grocery store, well, then you are a bad person. If you get sick from the virus, then you must have been doing something bad. It's your fault that you're sick. We are blaming sick people because they have this terrible virus that is so easy to catch. So we are labeling other people and we are saying those people have done bad things. And what we know, if we want the world to change, is that we cannot say, you are bad. You are the other people. You are the ones who are doing things wrong. I'm okay. I see the world clearly. I understand. So when we want to change a team or an organization or even some members of our family, we do that so easily. We say, we know, we see, we understand. You, on the other hand, you are the person who must change. You are the person who is doing things wrong. You don't understand. And what we know, because now there's scientific evidence, if you want other people to join with you to adopt your new idea, if you want them to change, then you must work with them. You must try to understand, why is it that you won't wear a mask in the grocery store? Why? Not that you're bad. I want to understand how you see the world. I must take time to really listen to you. I must take time to really understand how you see the world and what are you afraid of, so that your decisions don't match my decisions. What are you worried about? What are you anxious about? I must listen to you. And we don't like to do that. When we disagree, we don't want to listen. When we see the world differently, we don't want to learn because we are so convinced that we are right and those others are wrong. They must be bad people or stupid people. They don't get it. They don't see how our change effort, our new idea, they don't understand how good it is. There must be something wrong with them. And as a result, they are never convinced. We become even more separated. We become even more polarized. And we never come together because both sides are doing the same thing. Both sides are saying, you people, you are wrong. You don't get it. You don't understand.
That's quite unfortunate that
Yeah.
we are calling each other wrong in this
Yeah.
scenario, and we are failing to unite to fight
Yes.
against the common enemy. And I hope we find a way through this as well, because we are still facing the challenge. It's not yet over. So we still have time. And I think when we share this discussion with people, they realize more and more people are able to understand what you're trying to tell them with this answer. We just hope for the best. So leadership, Linda, is playing very critical role in these times. And according to you, if I may ask, what are the three strategies you can share to lead through these times of change?
So if I were able to have a meeting with our new president, I would tell him 3 things. I would say, number one, Joe, number one is we have a lot in common. We have shared values. We may not believe in the same implementation. We may have conservatives on one hand, liberals on the other, but deep down, we have things in common. We believe in valuing human life. We want to conquer this virus. We don't want people to get sick. We all agree on that. So if you dig down and if you try to understand, we have commonality, and you must start there. Don't focus on the differences because that's so easy to do. Look for shared values. And we're talking about deeply held values. In fact, if you look around the world, even if we don't agree politically, we do share a set of common values. The belief in sanctity of human life. We don't want people to suffer. We want everyone to have a chance. We believe everyone should be educated. We have hope that science will develop vaccines that will be effective. There's a set of core values that we share no matter what culture, what country, what language. Look for those, build on those shared values, and then make things easy. If you want people to go in a given direction, make it easy for them. Right now in Tennessee, we are in phase 1 trying to give the first shot of a vaccine to various groups of people. Well, one of those groups is the older population, those who are 75 and older. I'm in that group. And I have been trying for almost a month to get an appointment for the first shot of the vaccine. It is so difficult. There's a phone number, there's a website. There are waiting lists, there are other people who can help you. The directions are not clear. We don't know exactly what the process is. It's very poorly defined. And of course, on Christmas Day, the Nashville bomber destroyed a lot of our AT&T telephone network. So our phone service doesn't always work. Our internet doesn't always work because they are still in the process of repairing that. It is so difficult. I know many people who have given up. They say, I can't understand it. I don't know how to use that website. No one answers the phone. No one will help me. So if you want people to get that vaccine, make it easy, make the process easy for them. And that's true for all change. If you want to go on a diet because you think you need to lose a few pounds because you've been eating too much over the past year and lockdown, then don't buy any food that's bad for you. Don't think that you can put it in your home and that you will be able to resist it. That doesn't work. Make it easy. So build on common values. Make the change as easy as possible. And then the last piece of advice for Joe would be keep learning by listening. You must listen to everyone, not just the people who are on your team, but listen to the people on the other side. Listen to the people who didn't vote for you. Listen to the people who disagree with you. Listen to the people who are really, really worried about what's going to happen. Because if you don't step outside your bubble, if you only hear the people who say, yes, Joe, we all agree, we are all liberal Democrats, we all know what we should do, then you will make a lot of mistakes and you will make people feel even more divided and polarized. You have to make an effort to listen to people who don't necessarily agree with you. So build on core values, make it easy, and then listen to people who don't agree with you. I don't think Joe is going to call me, but if he does, I'm ready.
Thank you for sharing some amazing tips. I think it can work for all of us if we apply these kind of strategies in the times of change. Uh, so as we are approaching the end of the discussion, Linda, what is the one thought you want to share with our viewers and leave them with that?
So I know it's difficult. These are challenging times, but you have to be positive. We know from the evolutionary biologists that we're hardwired to be negative. We're hardwired to see everything that's wrong. And there's a good reason for that. Because in the Stone Age, when we were still evolving, if we didn't think that every noise was a threat, it could be an animal that was going to eat us or a member of an aggressive tribe that was trying to kill us. If we didn't think that way, then we would die. So we have to look at everything as though it could be a threat. Our evolutionary heritage gives us that very negative attitude. So we have to think about it consciously and work. It takes work to get past that negative point of view, because I think a lot of good things have happened in the past year. A lot of positive things will come out of this experience. And right now, if we don't work at it, then all we have is the negative, the bad things, the things that we don't like. So we have to work at it. We have to consciously, using our system too, we have to consciously work at it. And some things you could do is have your own retrospective and ask yourself, when this is all over, what will I remember and say, I miss that? I miss that. When this is all over, what will you look back on and say, oh, that was good. That made me happy. I remember. That makes me smile. What will you miss? So if you imagine your future self in another year or so, looking back, and ask yourself, what were the good things? What was good about that? What do I miss? What were the positive things that, in retrospect, make me smile? Then maybe that will help you. We will get through this and we will learn. If we can do a little extra work so that this is a positive experience, it's a good experience. Yes, people died. Yes, people are sick. But there are always some good things. And we have to really work hard to find them. But if you will look hard, you'll be rewarded. you will find some positive things to take with you as we leave this challenging time.
Thank you, Linda. One good thing that has definitely happened is this interview with you. And this is going to be in my memory for a long, long time. And thank you very much once again for taking out some time for this discussion. And I really enjoyed uh, discussing these questions with you and enjoyed your answers thoroughly. Thank you so much.